Hello guys, welcome to another edition of Rage Against the Dice. Now I am going to fair warn you, it's during the day, during a lockdown, in a busy house. You're going to hear washers, you're going to hear dryers, you're going to hear Mario Maker 2, and potentially you're going to hear the howls of laughter of a 5-year-old. We're just going to have to cope because this diary needed to be done so I can start painting these models. So, as you saw from the title, it is Dracula's America. I'm back at the painting table. I'm hoping to test out some of these new brushes that I've been picking up. And at the same time, we're also going to try and get some paint on some models. So, as I said previously, what we're going to do is we're going to be working mainly with blacks and reds. I know, super exciting stuff as always. I'm kind of working enclosed here because I've got lamps and tripods and everything all around me, but we'll go with it. So what I'm doing is I'm going to paint her first, or I'm going to attempt to paint her. We're going to try and get in as much as we can. So what I'm doing first of all is I'm going for the skin. Now I still start the skin the way I normally would start any skin, which is with this bad boy, which is called Bugman's Glow. Sorry, my palette. I'm not using my wet palette today. I'm using my poor old trusty little tile. Now I know it looks like it barely gets any action, but that is not the case. I just scrub it quite vigorously and quite regularly. So what I'm doing here is I'm just mixing it up. It's just a normal flesh tone. It's nothing super exciting. Now I'm going to try and get these diaries to go up every Sunday. Occasionally one might go up a little early, another might go up a little late, but I am going to try and keep that consistency alive. Any of you who are here just purely from Dracula's America might not know this, but I do have nerve damage in my hand, so quite often my hand will just open and the model will fall out. So I try and keep my hands locked as much as possible. That's not always easy, as anybody who's tried to do that knows, but you know, we do what we can. I'm being a lot neater than I usually would when I'm doing like a base coat on the first colour. You know, setting a good impression for you internet folk. Now hopefully what these videos will do is it'll bring some of you guys who had maybe not seen our channel before over, and maybe you'll find some new games that you like the look of. Tombstone, Oak and Iron, Bot War, etc. Carnivale being a particular favourite of ours. And then what it also might do is people who had never heard of this game, for shame by the way, for shame, and again I do apologise, I'm trying to work with this autofocus and stuff, and I've been messing with it, and every time I think, oh, I've got it right now, I see that I haven't got it right. But as you can see, the only parts of her flesh that are shown are the upper half. So we've got that on. So while she's drying, we're not going to waste the flesh that we've got mixed up, because that's not how we do things here. We're going to go straight on with her, and there is not a lot of flesh on her at all. But yeah, I mean, this is a really exciting game. We've been looking, and Vince is in case you hadn't seen it on the previous video. He's in, which is good, because it means I've got somebody to play against, other than Alan, who I would force to play, of course. And Vince at the minute is quite torn, but I think he's going to end up going for the Twilight Order, which is cool. I like the Twilight Order. It'll give a nice compromise. Obviously, he wanted vampires, I wanted vampires, and I threw a tantrum like a little toddler, and I got vampires. So yeah, he's going to use a mix of potentially Malifaux models, potentially Wild West Exodus models, some of the less steampunky ones, and then no doubt some Black Scorpion models as well, because we have an abundance of them, if I'm going to be honest with you. So I'm just picking up the fleshes on these now. Now, for any of you guys who already do play this, who've actually had some games, because of course we haven't, let me know what your experiences are of the actual gameplay side of things, because the background's fantastic and the rules seem really, really nice. But I don't know how many times any of you guys have got a game on the table that the rules looked like they were going to be amazing, and they've just been really disappointing. There's very few things worse. I mean, worse is when you read the background and you're like, oh, I really like the look of the background of this, and then you read the rules and you're like, oh, these make no sense. That's somewhat worse. Yeah, maybe they're on par with each other, I don't know. But yeah, my point being, what do you guys think of the game so far? So of course the more human-y people, who are like my, I guess, equivalent of thralls. Is that accurate? I think so. They're going to have more, they're obviously going to have a human-y skin. I'm still going to have it quite pale, because I'm working under the assumption that they're going to live in vampire-y style environments. So their skin's not going to be super tanned. Again, for people who are playing this, what miniatures are you using? See, like I said, we're using a mixture. I, at present, are solely using Black Scorpion miniatures. I do have some Dead Man's Hand miniatures that I'm going to be using for civilians. And I know the sizes are slightly different, but they're not that different that it matters. I mean, this may shock you, but people are different sizes. I mean, I'm like a dwarf-like figure, as anybody who knows me in real life knows. Whereas, I don't know, Vince is really tall. Liam's, shortish, but taller than me. Alan's medium height, I guess. So yeah, I mean, it's a thing. Now, normally if I'm painting small scale like this, I probably wouldn't be doing multiple models at once. I would just be doing a single model. It's one of the things I really enjoy about skirmish games, to be honest, is the fact that you can just go, I'm going to concentrate on this single model and I'm going to give it my love and time. By the same token, what I would normally be doing is any flesh wash I had over, I'd be going and I'd be doing the flesh on any of the models on my desk anyway. Like I've got a bit left over still, so I'm going to do one more Western model, which is most likely going to end up being some kind of novice or rookie once a campaign actually gets started, because that's the thing. You do start off with 6 models, as you guys know, but that isn't always going to be the case. Again, I'm using some brushes here that I bought specifically for a series of videos we're doing. If you haven't checked them out, feel free to go and look, because I don't mind promoting one video in another video, because, yeah, why not? Why not indeed? Now I'm toying with having black and red on everything, but only having the vampires that are only black and red, or mainly black and red. So the normal, like your rookies, your novices, your thralls, I guess they are, being that we're vampires. Yeah, maybe still having them in normal clothes, but just with, you know, bits of vampiriness to them. So some blacks and reds here and there. Like one of the models has some scarves and things, so Still working in a generally dark palette, because, you know, we want these to be stereotypical vampires. They don't sparkle or anything like that. I mean, you find in a lot of vampire media that there's a lot of consistency. Of course there is, because the vampire mythos and whatnot. But then you get the whole, my vampires are different kind of, yeah, that my vampires feel different to your vampires. And yeah, so I'll be back in a second, where no doubt the skin's going to need a second coat on some of them. So yeah, that, obviously for you guys it was me a second, but for me that was about 10 minutes. I ended up needing to make a cup of tea because, well, you know, British, basically. British. But yeah, so what I'm going to do is I am now onto the wash phase, and I'm using Games Workshop Sepia Wash for the vampires, or Seraphim Sepia, and for the humans I'm using basic Raglan Flesh. Now, I get asked loads on videos why I use Games Workshop paints all the time, and obviously Nate doesn't. Well, Nate A is a better painter than me, and B, it's because they're more accessible for a lot of people. So I don't always use Games Workshop paints. If you have a look around my desk, you'll see that there's a lot of non-Games Workshop-y based paints. However, when I'm doing mainly painting tutorials more specifically than this, I just like the Games Workshop washes on this instance. But when I'm doing paint tutorials, because I tend to handle the, you know, the side of painting tutorials, that is basically for beginners. That's the level of painting tutorial I cover if I'm doing one on the channel. It tends to be easy, accessible stuff, so I'll use brushes that are easy to buy and aren't expensive. So you'll seldom see me using my really expensive brushes when I'm doing a video painting tutorial. And I use paints that are easily accessible, and whether you like Games Workshop or not, it is one of the easiest places to get paint still. I can go, obviously not at the minute because of the lockdown, but for the most part I can go into town on my lunch or something like that, and I can pick up the paints I need, as I said, usually, not always, and especially not at the moment, where I can't even really go into town. So, but yeah, full disclosure, I am using these straight out the pot. Don't judge me. I don't usually, even with washes, but I'm lazy and I cut corners when it comes to videos. I am sorry, people, but I do. But yeah, this, as I said, isn't a painting tutorial so much as it's just part of my hobby vlog almost. And the plan was to talk to you guys about this specific game whilst I was painting. And I've kind of got sidetracked so far with just the painting aspect of it. I am still working on the whole painting and talking thing. But yeah, so these are going to be used for other things as well. Obviously, other Western games. We play Legends of the Old West, the old Games Workshop game. The book was, and rules were done by Mark Latham. I'm a big fan of Mark Latham. But it's essentially just an edited version of the Lord of the Rings rules. On top of that, they'll be used for Tombstone, which is the Black Scorpion miniatures game. That a lot of these models came from the same range. I'm a big fan of that. Then on top of that, I'm no doubt going to use them for Dead Man's Hand, because I hate the Dead Man's Hand miniatures. Sorry guys, I'm not a big fan, as I've said before. Just deal with it. And then no doubt they'll come in handy for other Western games, because anytime a Western game comes out, you best believe I'm going to be on top of it. Now, in case you're wondering why most of the male outlaws, more specifically, I haven't painted the hands on, and I haven't painted the hands on her, is because I'm going to paint them as gloves. Now, the main outlaw guys, they're going to be wearing, let's say, like a black leather glove, because of course they are, or very westerny, so maybe like a darker brown. And her, she's going to have red gloves on. They're going to be more like red silk. I'm going to be trying a new technique to try and get that right. Hopefully I won't mess it up quite drastically. So, the next step of these will be, I'll start to take the flesh wash. I'll start to take the flesh colour I was using, which for those of you who can't remember was Bugman's Glow, and I'm going to very, very slowly start adding flayed one flesh into it. Add a bit of flayed one flesh, really watered down, and then I'll give them a very, very light dry brush, more like a dusting than anything, and I'll keep adding a little more flayed one flesh until I start to get the shade I want on the model, and that will be through a series of dry brushes. Then what I'll do is I'll create a glaze out of the wash that I had previously used, either being Ragland or Sepia, and I'll glaze that across, and then I'll pick out the details with the flayed one flesh for the vampires, and for the human models I will use Kislev flesh. So that's where I'm at so far. I'm going to leave it for now. I'm going to continue painting on, full disclosure, because I'm enjoying it. So when I come back for part 3, or the next part, the flesh should theoretically be done, depending on how busy we get. Because as you can probably hear in the background, my youngest one's now getting a little bit bored and wants my attention. So I'm going to end the video here, but as always guys, hopefully you enjoyed the content. If you do enjoy the content, leave us a like. It does mean a lot to us, and it does help the channel grow. Leave us a comment if you liked the video, letting us know what you enjoyed about it, letting us know if you play this particular game or any other Western games. Is there any Western companies other than Foundry? I know Foundry's Western models are beautiful. Other than Foundry, which I'm going to order some once all this furloughing and world-ending apocalypse stuff ends, I shall be getting some Foundry models to show off, because, well, Foundry really. But yeah, if there are any other model manufacturers out there that you think I should take a look at, let me know in the comments. If it won't let you post the link, just post the name of the company and I can Google it. I have that ability. I'm at a low level reading age, but I can Google very basic things. But yeah guys, let us know what you think so far. Do you like this format where I just paint along and I talk? Would you prefer it to be longer? I know I like to put on videos of just people painting while I paint. And they'll just kind of talk on about everything. Do you want me to just talk about the game? Do you want me to talk about other things as well, other miniatures games that are interesting to me at the minute? Do you want me to go through some of the lore and history of the game? Genuinely let us know. And also, if you don't like the video and you give us a thumbs down, perfectly acceptable. You know, all comments are valid. But if you're going to give us a thumbs down, let us know exactly what the thumbs down was for. What was it that didn't connect about the video for you? Was it the fact that I still cannot manage to get the camera to focus on the smaller models? And I know it is just the settings, and if I mess around with it enough, I'll get them right, and I truly swear I will keep trying to get them right for you guys. But yeah, just let us know one way or another what you like, what you don't like. And then, as always, check out some of our other content. We cover a load of different games. There's going to be something that appeals to you. Check out the Paint with Nate series, because Nate's really fantastic with a brush. He shows you how to do some very, very nice techniques very simply. And then check out, if you're into your RPGs, check out the new series we've got that drops every Wednesday, which, as things stand, is just called Vince Reviews RPGs. It's not the cleverest of names, if I'm honest. But I'm not really good at thinking up clever names. But yeah, guys, I've waffled on long enough. Thank you so much for sticking to the end of this video, and pray the dice gods and hope they smile upon you. Take care. It's been an absolute pleasure, guys.